You're listening to the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, and with over 1.6 million downloads, this is the place to be for all your short-term rental knowledge as part of the Vacation Rental Formula Business School. If you're a regular listener, you know Heather and the VRF B School team are now specializing in coaching and consultancy for short-term rental property management, and now with a laser focus on incorporating AI into your daily operations. If you're thinking AI sounds exciting but have no idea where to start, then you'll want to hear this. We're running a brand new series of free webinars designed specifically for short-term rental operators who want to get ahead of the curve without drowning in the tech overwhelm. Inside these sessions, we'll break down what AI actually looks like in a real property management business, from automating guest messages to leveling up your systems, marketing, and team operations. And if you've ever wished someone on your team could take the lead on all this, well, that's exactly what the AI Ambassador program is built for. The webinars will walk you through how it works, what you will be implementing, and why early adopters like you will be ahead of the industry curve. So pull out your notes app because you're going to want in on this. Visit the link in the description of this episode for more information or visit the show notes. Stay tuned as we'll talk more about this in the mid-episode break. So without further delay, here's your host, Heather Bayer.
This is the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, keeping you up to date with news, views, information and resources on this rapidly changing short-term rental business. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and with 25 years of experience in this industry, I'm making sure you know what's hot, what's not, what's new, and what will help make your business a success. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. This is your host, Heather Bayer, and as ever, I am super delighted to be back with you once again. So we talk a lot on this show, more recently, I guess, about systems and automation and AI and staying ahead of trends. And today we are continuing this conversation because the AI world is evolving faster than almost anything we've seen in our industry, so I have to keep talking about it. And I guess if you've ever wondered how AI actually fits into your short-term rental business, beyond the buzzwords and the hype and all the stuff that's rapidly happening around us, this episode is for you because we are talking to somebody who is incorporating it into every aspect of her business. Today I'm joined by Dr. Rachel Gainsbrugh, and she's the founder of Short-Term Gems. She's a luxury rental investor. She's actually a pharmacist by training and also a passionate educator who's helping others build real wealth through short-term rentals. Rachel isn't just talking about AI. As I say, she's using it in her business every day and she's teaching her students how to do the same. So we are going to talk about how AI is transforming property management. Maybe you've heard this before from me, but I don't think we can stop hearing it, you know. So we're talking about the guest experience and how hosts at every level, whether you're managing one property or you're scaling to 10 or hundreds, can start applying smart, practical tools right now. And yes, we'll also get into how to keep up with the speed of change. You know, I was looking back to some previous episodes I've done on AI way back maybe 5-6 months ago, and they're obsolete now. They're not relevant anymore because things are changing so fast. We constantly feel like we're playing catch up. So it's really worthwhile listening in to as much as you can about AI right now. Get the foundational stuff laid down, and you're going to find it much easier to adapt as we go forward. So let's jump into the episode and talk to Dr. Rachel. I am so delighted to have back with me once again Dr. Rachel Gainsbrugh from Short-Term Gems. It's been a while, Rachel, since you were last on, and I'm so happy that you're here to talk to me about AI, because as everybody who's listening to this knows, I have transitioned almost 100% into AI now. And I don't like to geek alone.
Oh my goodness. Sharing is caring, isn't it, Heather? I am right there with you.
I know we are both in Mark Simpson's WhatsApp group, which I love. I tend to lurk more than post, but it's so nice being in there and seeing people that are living the same sort of crazy world that I'm in, and you definitely are as well. So this is great. Could you kick off by, as I'm sure, I know you've been on so many different podcasts.
Yeah.
And I saw that you were on Amy Porterfield's podcast.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
No, absolutely. It's interesting because we were together and I don't think we talked anything about AI. That's how things have evolved so quickly. Like everything has changed. The content that I'm putting out there, the course that I currently have, Heather, we're taking a couple months off to redo everything because everything I shared is now obsolete in terms of take this step and then take that step. 17 steps later, you're there with AI. We can compress that down. And so I say, you know what, everyone, we've got to get back to the drawing board and share with everyone the shortcut. There's so many new shortcuts that are available.
It blows my mind every time, whether I'm creating a podcast or creating a course for short-term property managers to identify somebody within their organization to be their AI ambassador.
Oh.
And that person that can say, okay, so the cleaner's using Grok and the reservationist is using ChatGPT and the founder's out there playing with Perplexity. We figure the AI ambassador is the one that's in that company that can say, okay, I'm going to coordinate all this and make sure we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing. But anyway, we're here to talk about you. How did you get into this business and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, sure. So I am a retired pharmacist. I was formally trained, got my doctorate of pharmacy many moons ago. And now I teach burnt out medical professionals, physicians, dentists, pharmacists, something that I call my 2-property sweet spot. So it's a 2-door strategy. It's small, but sustainable. And it is really meaningful because the owners, they get to really participate in curating these amazing stays for their guests. They meet IRS requirements for tax savings as well. And they get to purchase a property that they potentially would love to enjoy. And so one of the biggest disconnects, Heather, and where I saw a lot of friction along the way is the time. They struggled with time. Well, who doesn't, right? And so I would hear that over and over again. And so my goal had been consistently, here's the SOP, the standard operating procedure. Plug this in, plug that in, plug this in. And Google Sheets and Docs and all of these were the tools that I was creating these frameworks. And it had been wildly successful as I was coaching these cohorts since 2021. Next thing, now that AI is on the scene, everything has changed. So the time from property under contract to launch has significantly diminished. I'm all in. I created my first GPT. I'm over 400 GPTs and I'm not looking back. And that's just scratching the surface with what we're able to do with AI right now.
I'd just like to jump down this rabbit hole and say, how do you coordinate 400 GPTs? And organize them? Because I've got maybe 50 or 60. I've got one that creates my podcast flow. And when I go into my GPTs, I'm scrolling, but I know it's down at the bottom somewhere because it was one of the first I created. But I was interested in, how do you organize those?
So when I say I have 400 that I created myself, not all of them are mine personally. Since I do have a voice in the space, I have physicians that reach out. They say, you know what, I'm struggling with keeping my labs together. And they may have a functional medicine type of practice where they're reviewing labs a little bit differently. They have their own framework and interpretations. And it may take 4 GPTs to go through not only reading the lab. And here's where I think folks get it wrong with GPTs. They want the one GPT to solve it all. No, we're going to have one that reads it. We're going to have one that interprets it. And then when we're creating and curating that results sheet and the guide, the patient education guide, it's a different GPT that is well trained on how to present it in layman's terms. Totally different. And so that one task has 3 GPTs associated. I have another one. I have a client. Her clients are She has a commercial real estate. So her clients are Starbucks and Staples, which are very large companies here in the States. And so whenever she is going back and forth with them with contracts, interpretation, so she needs 3 or good GPTs to make that happen. So I have about a dozen or so private clients that each of them, they walked away with about 6 or 7 GPTs from me. So that's part of that list as well. Now, I personally, for my podcast, I have a podcast and I have a YouTube channel. So the podcast show notes need to be a little bit different than the YouTube show notes. So those are 2 GPTs. So what I do to stay organized is I use bookmarks, and my team is probably, they hate the way I do things, but it works for me and my ADHD brain. So I use bookmarks, and I know if I'm in my podcast zone, I'm wearing my podcast hat on, I go to my podcast or YouTube bookmark, and then I've got the 7 GPTs that I use in the order, because the episode summary, then I want the thumbnail title, then I want the thumbnail text, then I want the thumbnail title. If it's a podcast episode that I'm looking at or YouTube, I actually combine those. There's a good number of GPTs in there. And the summary and the title, they're their own separate GPTs, because the summary has a different job, right? It's got to have the timestamps. It's got to do this. It's got to do that. But then the title and the thumbnail, they need to work together and coordinate. And I need recommendations on the image. So now that I have the recommendation on the thumbnail image GPT idea from the transcript, then I need to send that to the team. Here's what I think the thumbnail should look like, draw it out. And now they use that prompt that they're given to place it into the AI tool to come up with some mock-ups for me.
You are way more organized than me. Now I'm going to step back and have a look at mine again and say, oh, I need to do something about this. Let's step back a little bit. And you said 2021. Was that the moment when you realized AI could have a real impact on how you operate the business? Because really, for most people, this didn't start until December 2022, going into 23, when ChatGPT was launched.
2021 was when I started teaching other doctors how to get started, but it's 2023. I leaned into AI. I dabbled around a little bit with Jasper. And the reason I dabble with Jasper, one of my biggest, I would say, constraints and a struggle for me have always been the written word. And that's what I think AI solves. Like, whatever you're deficient in, you can have an AI buddy, AI partner to come alongside you to help. So for me, I was intrigued that Jasper, it wasn't perfect, but it can help improve my thoughts in the written word so that it's a little bit more readable. So I really got into using Jasper AI, which was a AI copywriter. And then when ChatGPT came on the scene, it was like, whoa, all bets were off. So I leaned into ChatGPT.
What's most exciting about AI for you right now?
Oh my goodness.
Well, you're going to have to explain vibe coding for the audience.
So essentially, we can use natural language, your English language, your Japanese language, Spanish, whatever you speak, to share with a tool either the type of app you want to create, a website you want to create, a really nice computerized itinerary looking situation, a guidebook. You can use natural language, like your words, without having any coding background, and it would produce one of the most beautifully put together apps or a resource that you didn't have to code. You're not buying something enterprise level that you end up only using 10% of. It was made for you, specifically for you. And I love that so much. I've created a handful of little vibe coded apps. We use them for training guides. It's just so well put together. There's something inside of my community where they need to track their hours to meet an IRS requirement. So we created an app there where you can voice memo, because I know that's their struggle. They don't have time to sit down and log in. So they can voice memo and then it will upload, okay, they spent 7 hours at the property, this property on this date, et cetera, et cetera. So it's specific. It doesn't have to be, it's not going to go and change the whole world, but it'll change the world for that one client that you have, for that one member on your team that may be struggling. And and it didn't cost me $400,000 of development, but it would take development teams to create these little apps. And so the 4 things that we've created so far, like categories, like itineraries that are just cutely branded for our guests. That little material participation tracker that my doctor clients, they're struggling with keeping their hours and the IRS come after them. That's a problem, right? So we're solving that. What else? Oh, little branded websites. So say now there's security, there's all sorts of things that you need to make sure that your website is intact. However, you can create an actual mock-up of a website and tell the developer, this is my vision. This is what I'm wanting, because I don't know developer speak, but I know what I want in my head. So instead of just trying to draw, I have a mock-up that I can share with them. And yeah, just more internal tools to help speed up the process inside of a company. And now we're looking at maybe creating dashboards that will show us our data.
Somebody said the other day, if you can talk it through, you can do it.
Yeah.
What do you use? What platforms are you using to do the vibe coding?
The two that I've used so far, like I've had my hands in, are Base 44 and Lovable. Those are the two. I primarily, the ones that I've deployed and that are out, I ship them, they're out in the world and our members are actually interacting with them, are on Base 44. I have not yet shipped for Lovable. However, I'm really curious about Replets right now. Because, of course, shiny object, we're always wanting to. So I want to dabble with Replit a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the difference is between them. I've been using Lovable. I've been creating apps in Lovable. I've just created one for a client, which she's in a dark sky area, and the guests that come to her places are looking at the sky. They're looking at the stars. So I know there are apps out there, but I wanted something that she could have on her website, that she could write a page on the Sonoma night sky, and then they could click on the date they're planning on going, and they could see what constellations they're going to see. And I know nothing, zero, about astronomy. And in 10 minutes, I created an app where, exactly that. It didn't have a compass. My husband said, how do they know which direction to look? And I said to Lovable, can I have a compass? There it was. There's a compass in the corner of this star map. And then I said, what about people who aren't very good at astronomy, who just want to see the sky? How do they know what they're looking at? It created a beginner's guide to stargazing. 10 minutes. And then a little bit more but I haven't deployed it yet.
Yeah.
But I learned things about APIs.
Yes.
I had to go to astronomyapi.com to get the API to call in the charts. But that was so easy. And if you get, the thing is, and I don't know whether it's the same with Base 44, if you've got I'm not sure I'm doing this right. Well, you just tell it that I'm not sure I'm doing this right. What do you think I'm doing next?
Yeah.
You can go and check it out right now. And all you've got to do is tell it what you want and just watch the magic happen.
I love that. That's a great example. I've never heard that example before. But again, it's customized. You have a client that has a problem and you're thinking to yourself, how do I enhance their guest stay? How do I improve upon the guest stay? And I think that's going to be the big differentiator, isn't it, Heather?
It is. At the AI for Business Summit, one of the sessions that really stood out for me was called Be the Only.
Ooh.
And because you're in this world, a sea of sameness. And the example he used, he said, we were in Las Vegas for 3 days. He said, you're in the casino, you've got a $100 bill and a $2 bill. Which one are you going to keep?
The $2 bill.
You're going to keep the $2 bill.
Yeah.
Because it's rare. It's unusual. And he said, so you need to be the $2 bill. And that was, it wasn't so much about AI, that session, but it was about being unique with ChatGPT. Go find your uniqueness.
And you're so right, because you wouldn't believe how many spinoffs of our course content is out there now, right? So someone could just hijack your whole life's work in a matter of hours. Things that took you 40 years to put together, they can hijack it in a matter of hours. But that heartbeat and just what you just shared about the Stargate, like just knowing how to solve a very unique, specific problem for that specific guest and having enough taste and nuance and context to know, oh, this is something that's going to land.
That's it, but anybody can do this. So what about people who are out there listening to this? They're curious, but they're really hesitant. And I was at the Verma conference in Las Vegas about 6 weeks ago, and I spoke to a lot of property managers who said, yeah, I'm just not sure I'm ready to go there yet. It's too difficult. It's just too overwhelming. It's not for me. How would you, I'm sure you have some of your clients who approach you and say, this is too overwhelming. What do you say to them?
I want them to think of AI as replacing the 47 daily decisions that's draining the life out of them. So they get guest messages, they get pricing updates, maintenance tickets, all of these things. So imagine a life where we can reduce that noise, reduce that clutter. The AI can detect patterns and become really a thought partner alongside of us so that we can focus on the bigger things in this business, right? How do we build more if we so choose? How do we give back more? There's so many things they maybe think about, man, I really wish we could do this extra thing for our guests, but you don't have the capacity, you don't have the team, you don't have the bandwidth. AI gives you the bandwidth to be the only one that offers this extra thing now, because those 47 daily decisions that's been draining your brain, they're all well collected and put together in such a way that they are handled. So that's what I would say. Start with just the ChatGPT free account. If you can't afford the $20 a month, dare I say, it's so worth it. Start with some good prompts and some good checks. You'll get that prompt that is reliable every single time that you put in a request. It provides you an owner summary that your owners are like, oh yeah, this was great. This is a better layout. You can start doing those things now with AI. Start small, start with ChatGPT, use the free account, get used to it. I would say within a month, I want you paying for the $20 because with the $20, you can now start to customize and it starts learning your voice and you can get reliable outputs. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we've done for our team members is we've democratized genius. All of our B players are now A players. Our C and D players are gone. They're just gone. However, we've empowered the B players with the skills, the expertise, with the greatest minds of our time. We have uploaded entire books. Unreasonable Hospitality is in one of our GPTs. And so now I don't cringe anymore every time they respond. When this person responds to guests, I'm losing my mind. But when this person responds, they do such a great job. We no longer have that disparity because everyone's using that one Unreasonable Hospitality GPT that's going to give off that above and the beyond feel of that guest communication. So I say just start with ChatGPT. It is worth it. It is that sharpening your axe. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had an hour to chop down a tree, I would spend 45 minutes sharpening my axe. It is that 45 minutes you're sharpening your axe, but it pays you back dividend. You won't believe how much more you will be able to do once you get your hands on some AI support.
Exactly. And as you said right at the very beginning, things are just changing and moving on so fast. That speed of change, once we get into that and get flowing with it, then there's no boundaries really.
Yeah. So imagine there could be someone on your team, right? They're doing a decent enough job. You just wish they were a little bit better, a little bit more timely, right? With the AI, you have the opportunity. If they have a good work ethic, you can equip them with tools that they need to better, to do a little bit more, to go a little faster. And that's what your competitors are doing.
Yeah.
Not to be fear-mongering, but that is what your competitors are doing. And so I say get started exactly where you're at. I don't believe it's too late. Get in there now. Now is the right time.
Yeah. In the summit I was at, and people were saying, we've probably got 12 to 18 months before everybody's doing this. If you don't get in there now, don't let it sit on the shelf because it's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Let's go into short-term rentals.
Yeah.
What's one surprising area where you've seen AI save time and money in an area that perhaps people wouldn't expect?
One of my clients just mentioned, Dr. Alexis, she just mentioned that one of the GPTs we use inside of our community, I have a suite of 12 GPTs for our clients to use. She said she used the guest review, negative review GPT to navigate a negative situation, right? This is life. This is the business. We're going to have some positives. We're going to have some negatives, such as any business. And not only did it help remove the negative review, she got some money back because of the damage, because we have a damage recovery GPT as well. Okay. So at the end of the day, we want to provide a great service. However, some guests, you're going to get an unfair review, an unfair shake. Human nature is human nature. And we're going through some trying times here in the US, right? So some people may come at you with a different type of demeanor. And that's exactly what occurred. She placed the entire situation inside of that custom GPT. Again, this is a custom GPT is like a customized chat inside of Chat GPT with very specific instructions. And the instructions were to pull the Airbnb terms of services. That is the bedrock of it. And see if there will be any leeway, any opportunity for me to get this review removed. And based on the terms of services, slander, and there are other things in there that are not allowed. They're not part of their terms of communication or something along those lines. And so she was able to get it removed because it met that criteria for removal, which is something in her limited time. She has a private practice and she's doing locum tenens, picking up extra hours to scrutinize the term of service against what's actually going on. She may have missed some of those patterns. The GPT immediately detected it, and then she was able to recover back some of the damage based off of what the cleaning team had reported to her. So that was something I didn't go in thinking that's what I would be using AI for. I thought I would be using it to create better listing titles and better listing descriptions and some enhance photo captions and like from a marketing perspective, but it is a problem solver. Time and money. These are the two things so that now she could breathe a little easily and move on.
We want to take a quick break here because if you're running a short-term rental business today, you've probably felt it. The industry is moving fast. Faster guest expectations, tighter margins, and now a wave of AI tools that promise the world. And if only someone had the time to figure them out. That's exactly why we built the AI Ambassador program. Think of it as training your very own in-house AI leader, someone on your team who knows your business, knows your systems, and can take the lead on implementing AI in a way that actually saves time instead of adding more noise. Over 8 weeks of live training, your ambassador learns how to uncover bottlenecks, evaluate pain points, map how work actually gets done, and identify where AI can make the biggest difference. They'll build effective prompts, create AI-powered SOPs, strengthen team communication, and choose the right tools to make daily operations smoother and more efficient. Then they get 9 months of group coaching to keep the momentum going and help you avoid the "we learned something cool but never used it" trap. And because so many managers are asking for support right now, registration for our next intake is officially open. And if you want someone in your company to confidently lead the AI transition instead of everyone guessing their way through it, this is the moment to step in. The truth is simple. Early adopters here will be ahead of the industry curve. Register for our upcoming webinar series using the link in the show notes to get some quick AI wins and a taster of what your AI ambassador will become a master of. Trust me, this is the kind of hour that pays you back every single week.
I think maybe we should step back and just say, oh, okay, let's look at the anatomy of a GPT. What is it? GPT sounds complicated, but in fact, it's simple. Can you give me the anatomy of that custom GPT? What goes into it to make it work so well like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're configuring a custom GPT, essentially say, for instance, Heather, I have this girlfriend. She's on social media every time and she says, Rachel, please, whenever you see my post, give me some love, give me a great response, give me a lengthy response. I may not know exactly what to say, when to say it. However, I can create a prompt for myself. I said, help me to cheer on my girlfriend on social media, give me something entertaining, spicy. And then once I get that output, say, Heather, I like that output. I was like, oh, okay, give me a prompt. Give me a prompt that would repeat that output. Another scenario is, say you want to create a customized owner's letter. You want to upload the figures and the data. Say you're a revenue manager. You want to upload the data. However, you want to provide it to your owner in a way, you may say, give me a nuance of hopefulness and of gratitude. You want to position it that way. Once you've created that and you're getting an output that you're like, oh, this output is really good. Chat GPT would give me this output every single time. Because that's the one thing with AI. AI is very generative. Any given day, it has another vibe, another little attitude. Once you've nailed down that output, you can now create a prompt that will give you that response every single time. Because I think a good part of our lives are repeated tasks, right? I need the same type of thumbnail that's going to perform. I need the same type of letter to my owners. I need the same across the board. We want that consistency, especially if we get something complimentary from the owner that says, oh my gosh, that was such a great letter. I get where we're going. I understand why you're changing my prices this way. And yeah, let's see how next month goes. You're like, okay, nailed it. I want to do this over and over again. So once you have that prompt that says something to the effect of act as a concierge, owner, collaborator, GPT, here's what I need from you. Provide me a report that starts off with gratitude, and then it conveys the 3 high-level bullet points, the 3 most impactful metrics of what we're hitting and where we're going, and then close it out with gratitude and something about the holidays every single time. That's the instruction that you would add inside of the GPT. That is the main instruction. At this point, you can opt to add in a knowledge base. So for that particular prompt, I don't think we necessarily need a knowledge base. That should be good enough. However, if you're working with high stakes clients and it's a constant negotiation back and forth, you may upload the book by Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. He's a negotiator. Say this is you may have a GPT for very contrarian hosts and GPT for very friendly hosts, right? So for the contrarian hosts who or rather owners who constantly send challenging communications, that GPT, you may also add under the prompt in the system's instructions, you may add inside of the knowledge base, the book that's called Never Split the Difference, so that you can hold your ground. However, you create a collaborative relationship that's a win-win for the both of you. So I would say those are the main things that are part of the GPT. It's again inside of ChatGPT. You would then name it something like Captain Monthly Letter, something along those lines. And then you would save it. Now, say, for instance, I have a client, her mom was in the hospital. Her husband had to take over the rentals for a little bit. And I say, hey, use her GPTs. And he found the GPT and he was able to produce whatever he needed to communicate with the guests because she had already built it out. She had coded it. It had her voice. So now you're creating a world where, yeah, if you have to take a week off, if you have to take a breather, someone can come alongside you and provide an output exactly the way that you would because your GPT is trained on it. And so I'm a big fan of custom GPTs. I think every business needs a batch of custom GPTs for the owner and for every member of their team. And so my team members are now equipped with the smartest mind for Google conversions because we've uploaded that information. Someone who has no expertise in marketing, they now have that in the palm of their hands because we now can democratize greatness. We took the brain of a $250,000 a year CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and we've infused it inside of our GPTs so that now I have no expertise in that, but now I can speak to it. I would say, okay, it says that we're supposed to do this. It says that we're supposed to do that based on our specific business, based on what we've got going on, not based on your business, but based on my business. So I think if anything, if you walk away with anything today, it's create that first custom GPT because that is the gateway drug. Wouldn't you say, Heather?
Let's talk about the guest experience.
Yeah.
Because I know we hear this is AI, it's automation, we're hospitality, we're human. How do we integrate the two? How do you help your clients to get over that hurdle of thinking, I don't want to use AI automation because it's going to impact the way I communicate or create the guest experience?
I think from a sustainability perspective, being human is a part of it. And sometimes as a human, if we have a small but mighty team, it's just us and maybe an assistant, our availability is not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So having the AI available during the off hours have been very beneficial. We had the AI handle a lockout at a property, handled it very well. Now, we do caveat that this is the AI support team. I forget the name of the AI avatar. It's Bridget or something like that. Yeah. So this is Bridget, your AI support team. I have all the information about the property. I'm here to support you and I will escalate if needed. And it's been great. And I'm going to be honest, Heather, sometimes I don't want to speak to a human. I rather the AI just give me the PDF that I'm looking for. Because if I need to speak to a human, I'm going to be in a waiting queue, right? So I don't know about anyone else, but I'm used to seeing the chat bubble on the right-hand side on websites now. I know that's AI, right? 60%. And when I ask them, hey, the button isn't loading, it gives me 3 things to try real quick. I say, okay, that's a great idea. And I'm going to try that real quick. Otherwise, I would have to call the 1-800 customer support. I'm in a queue for hours and hours. By that time, I have 7 other tasks that I need to contend with. So to me, I think people are going to start to adopt that the AI is actually pretty proficient. The AI actually has access to more information. No dig on humans, but I think having that alliance between human and AI, that is the secret sauce. That is the way of the future for sure. And we're here for it. My clients appreciate it. If there's something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, you can actually train the AI just like you would have to train a human. Sometimes my humans, they say things. I was like, okay, that's not part of our policy. We would never do that. Same with AI. Hey, update the policy SOP. Why did it respond that way? Why is it giving a free check-in? Early training it like you would train a human, I think is the way to go. And leaning into the fact that it's a partner, it's not an end all be all. I see it as a partner and really working to humanize the language. I think it's important to humanize the language. Guests are going to detect something that's way too robotic. So whatever you can do to humanize the language, I think is great. Another area with the guest communication, which I thought was really interesting, I have a client who has a property in the Disney market and the AI that they're using, they trained it to give a Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse tone. And so the back and forth is so fun to watch. Now you can customize it specifically to certain tones. And I thought that was a lot of fun. The little Mickey emojis, the Minnie, and I don't know. I wouldn't know how to train someone to do that.
Yeah. And it's interesting. If I go back in this industry to the 1990s and really dating myself now. And we had voicemail, we had an answer machine. So if somebody called and had a question, they got the answer machine. And that was it because we had to sleep. If you had a problem in the middle of the night, you were done. You just waited it out. Until somebody answered that phone in the morning. To me, it's not taking away hospitality. It's actually adding to hospitality. It's creating that extra step where guests can feel confident that there is somebody at the other end to help them, because a good AI will have that step that says, okay, I can't handle this. I'm now escalating it to somebody else. If it's that old question, what's the Wi-Fi password? And they can deliver that Wi-Fi password within a second or two. You don't need a person at the end of the line.
Yeah.
So the speed at which this is evolving right now is just staggering. I gave a presentation at the Verma conference. We did a 90-minute workshop on the basics of AI. Didn't even start planning it till 6 days before. Because if I'd done it the month or two before, it would have been out of date. I would have been talking about things that had been superseded by something else.
That happened to me, Heather. So I had been training myself on the VO3, which is Google's AI image generator, video generator. And I was getting ready for a boot camp with our members. You know, that box, the exploding box that I shared with you, that was VO3. I was all in. I had the steps. I had the guide. The day before, Sora 2 dropped. It was over. Sora 2 was just so much easier to use. It's available in the US. I believe it's available overseas or via VPN. But it dropped and all of those instructions were obsolete. I'm okay. This was fine.
An AI avatar.
I do. Yeah. Hey, Jen, to create her,
Yeah.
And she's pretty good. She doesn't have a good sense of humor. So if I say something funny, she'll just say, and then here's the joke. No, she doesn't have a sense of humor at all. But I will tell you, like, for instance, Nano Banana, a lot of my members, they sometimes need to update their LinkedIn profile with a viable headshot. I know that there have been some job losses over the last year. So if you need a good headshot, I took a photo I had on my bathrobe, took a screenshot, and I uploaded into Nano Banana. And I say, create a LinkedIn headshot with studio lighting. It placed me in a nice suit, great grayish background ombre. I looked exactly like me. My hair was put together. So Nano Banana for the win, because to get a photo shoot, Heather, do you know what we as women have to go through? The makeup person, the hair person, the lighting person, the whole coordination. And for my busy professionals, that would take 2 days off of work potentially for them to manage all of that. And you get it like this. Come on.
Yeah, 100% with you on that. I'm in business partnership with my son, Mike. We'd been talking about we really should do another photo shoot. I took a photo of Mike and I in Canmore, BC. Last year, we went to a Canadian conference and we went climbing in Canmore. It was really a quick selfie up on a mountain. I uploaded that and I said, put these two people in a business setting, casual business clothes. Mike is sitting at a laptop. I'm leaning over the back of him. It was just completely awesome. I'll put those in the show notes just because it was the first time I did it a while back. It's the first time I'd used this and I was blown away. But then I'm blown away every day by this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sora.
Oh my gosh.
Sora, I used Sora, I think it was the day it came out, and I was on a flight, and I was just thinking, I remember when we used to smoke on airplanes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is way back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
And I used to smoke on airplanes. So I made a Sora video of me sitting there just smoking this cigarette saying, isn't it amazing they allow us to... The thing is with Sora, you don't actually give it the script. It creates its own script. And it just had me sitting there in 1980s clothing, smoking. And I said something like, it's amazing they let you smoke on these aeroplanes. It's just like sitting in a lounge in the sky. And by the time I got to the conference, I don't know how many people had seen that. And you were smoking?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So it has your visage. We call it a cameo on Sora. And you type in the little prompt and all of a sudden yesterday I did when I was skydiving all of a sudden, Heather. Which is great. So I'm skydiving, I'm swimming with sharks. It is hilarious. And I think from a visualization, for those who are really into visualization and mindset exercise, say you have a conference or a retreat space, right? Imagine helping them create that visualization of themselves doing these things. For those who may have a wellness retreat, have them create a story of them and their family gathered around this home or this fireplace or experiencing something together. And maybe that'll bring it to fruition. I think that's awesome. But where I think we have the biggest leverage point, Heather, is imagine a world where I may be at a conference, I may be with you at a conference speaking, and then my team back home wants to create a welcome video for a new guest or a new client. They now have a tool where they're not waiting for me to get off on stage to record something. They can say, Rachel, greeting the guest at the new property, and they have it.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned there about using it for clients in a retreat or some sort, that's awesome. I
Think about that, right? Well, exercise, isn't it, Heather? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Rachel, I could talk to you for hours. It could go on, and I know time is drawing in now. I want to find out where you go to find your information. Who do you listen to? Who do you watch on YouTube? And how do you stay on top of what's actually useful?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's these two guys that host a podcast they work for HubSpot. I think one is the chief marketing officer And I forget their names. One is Keenan and one is something else. But the podcast is named Marketing Against the Grain.
Oh.
And so that podcast had really gotten me my start to understanding how to optimize my prompts for the most part. So if you're just getting started and you need to get some marketing out, who doesn't need marketing for their business? If you don't, let me know what business that is. Marketing Against the Grain is one I think they typically offer really good insights. Here's how to 10x a particular prompt. Here's how we're using a Chat GPT projects, which is another little leveraging point as well. There's another guy, Greg Eisenberg. He has one that is called something about Starter Podcast. He brings on different guests that are the founders and leaders of the different tools. He brought in the Nano Banana chief developer at one point. And one of his questions that I like at the very beginning, and he says, are you going to give us the sauce? Are you going to give us the juice? Okay, tell the people by the time they walk away from this episode, what are they going to know how to do? So that intrigues me. So his stuff, I would say, could be a little bit more advanced on the advanced side, but I like that he's bringing in the actual owners of these tools that we're using just to show us a few things, a few additional resources that we can tap into. I would say those are the two that I can recall off the top of my head. I'll just go to YouTube. I'm a YouTube girl. If I want to learn about Nano Banana, I type it in and you'll see a whole bunch of YouTube videos and you'll start to identify who is just giving you fluff and who's actually going to do a nice little walkthrough. When they do a screen share, that's my favorite. Share your screen. Let me see what you're looking. And then from there, just one nugget, you'll take that one nugget from them. Maybe they're talking about creating animation. Okay, I don't do that. You can extrapolate for yourself. Oh, here's how I see that I can create a thumbnail for my listing to place on my website. So you just extrapolate it for you and your business.
Yeah, there is so much good stuff out there. And that really is, it's a good tip just to go to YouTube and just put in what you want to learn about. And it will come up with just a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I will put links to those two podcasts in the show notes anyway. Rachel, it's been absolutely amazing chatting with you. I hope the listeners are enjoying this as much as I am.
Oh my gosh. Yes. We didn't go too deep into vibe coding. Vibe coding is a whole other vibe. So there's so much to do. Book writing, right? Ebook creation. So much.
I did an ebook for a client the other day. It was a client who's a property manager and she's wanting to attract new owners. And I said, you need a lead magnet. So we'll create an ebook that helps your potential clients when they've just come through the real estate part and they've just purchased. Now they're thinking about renting and they might want to do it themselves or they might want to do it through a manager. Give them a book on how to do it.
Yeah,
and
that's smart.
We created the ebook in maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, come on.
And then going to Designer, that's DESIGNERR, or I'll put it in the show notes. It's either ERR or just RR. I know it's got 2 R's on the end. Use Designer to actually create the book, create a cover for it, and away you go. And it was good.
Wow.
I wrote a book back in 2003, and it took me 18 months. Yeah. And now you can write a book. Now you'd go back to it. You wouldn't just publish it as is.
But it would be a month, right? Maybe a month or two.
Yeah. But it gives you the framework to then feed in your own stories and your own experience, make sure it's in your voice.
Yeah.
I know we will talk again on Mark's WhatsApp group.
For sure.
If anybody's interested in Mark Simpson's WhatsApp group, reach out to him. I'll put a link to Mark because that is a group where just geeks from all over just get together and talk about AI in short-term rentals. So, Rachel, thank you so much. It's been just such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me, Heather.
So, wow, that was a real whirlwind tour of how AI is not just transforming businesses, but lives. And Rachel is clearly right at the heart of it. From crafting hundreds of GPTs, I feel like I'm way behind with my 40 to 50 that I think I've got, and she's into the hundreds, to empowering how busy professionals can reclaim their time. She is showing exactly how AI can be used strategically, but without losing that human touch. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines with AI, I hope this conversation has given you the nudge to take that first step. Whether you just want to start building a simple custom GPT or playing with vibe-coded apps, it's something I'm doing as soon as I get off this call, as soon as I get off this episode. In fact, I'm creating apps right now. Or just asking ChatGPT to write your next owner update. You could do it right now. You could just turn off this episode and start working with AI. And don't forget, hospitality and AI aren't at odds. As Rachel reminded us, when it's used thoughtfully, AI becomes an amplifier of great guest experiences and team performance. It's not a replacement for your personal touch. So if you want to learn more about Rachel's work, head to shorttermgems.com and explore how she's guiding medical professionals and beyond into smart, sustainable success in short-term rentals. And as I sign off here, don't turn it off. I want you to listen to my son, my business partner, Mike, as he gives you a little bit more information on what we're working on right now. But for me, that's it. I'm so happy to have been with you today, and I'll look forward to next week.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. And before we wrap up today, I want to remind you, if you've been feeling that nudge that it's time to get ahead with AI, don't ignore it. The operators who lean in now are the ones who will be leading the market 12 months from today. Our free AI webinar series is your chance to see what's possible, get practical examples, and decide whether someone on your team should step in to that AI leadership role. It's simple, actionable, and built for real-world STR operators, not tech experts. The link to register is waiting for you in the description of this episode on your smart device and in our show notes. Go grab your spot now.
It's been a pleasure as ever being with you. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, then join the conversation on the show notes for the episode at vacationrentalformula.com. We'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to being with you again next week.